now says we're ready, so we are really well ready. Good morning and welcome everybody to the June Residents Council meeting. As you will notice, we can all sit up nice and close to one another, and then we can yell at the guy with the lawnmower. We also know that it's not necessary for residents to wear their masks, and we've invited Brian to please take off his mask if he feels comfortable sitting so close to Elizabeth and me, but we promise not to do anything bad if he takes his mask off. To begin, let us begin with some prayer, and we're asking Bill Durham to give us the invocation.
I'm moving over here because I'm not only addressing God, I'm addressing the council also. Heavenly Father, creator of heaven and earth, we praise your name for your goodness, mercy, and love for us. We pray your blessing on this meeting of the Residents' Council. We pray that you will guide the hearts and minds of the council members in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. We ask that you impart your supreme wisdom to each member so that they may reach successful conclusions in their deliberations. Thank you for being our source of inspiration and guidance today. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Bill. Secretary's report, Carol.
Yes, I'm on. The minutes from the April meeting were distributed, published on MyWLife, and posted on all the community bulletin boards. There were no corrections or additions, so those minutes will stand as published.
Thank you, Carol. Treasurer's report, Elizabeth.
Good morning. May was a quiet month, although I am pleased to say that the boutique brought in just over $1,200 between their normal sales and the pop-up sales. So we have enough money to take care of our employees for the rest of the calendar year. And that's the good news. There's not a lot going on even yet. I'm sure Betty Francis would appreciate it if more of you would play bingo, because that's where she gets her money to keep the library running. But beyond that, that's it. The latest report will be published on MyWLife under the Residents' Council folder, along with the minutes from this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and I promised her I would not do this, but happy day before your birthday, Elizabeth. Are there any committee reports? Hearing none, we will proceed to our business. The first order of business that we have is the appointment of another Residents' Council member from the Garden Apartments, and our secretary is the keeper of the master roster, so I turn it over to Carol.
Thank you, Joan. Excuse me. A member of the council has resigned, and when that happens, the council can approve a replacement for the rest of the calendar year. We have found someone who is happy to take on that responsibility. Betsy Sales, a Garden Apartment resident, has an impressive background in academia as well as in business. She was executive editor for Houghton Mifflin Company, a master teacher from Massachusetts, and she is a national board certified teacher. She also has a broad range of volunteer and leadership experience. Betsy will be a wonderful addition to the council. Therefore, I move that Garden Apartment resident Betsy Sales be appointed to the Residents' Council for the fiscal year 2021 and 22.
There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Dave has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? The motion is carried. We welcome Betsy to council as a representative from the Garden Apartments. Her jobs are only just beginning. The next item on our agenda is time to appoint all the committee chairs for fiscal years 21-22. This is kind of one of those things that our bylaws requires us to do. And to do this, we turn to the vice chairs of committees, and we're going over to Ray Carnes.
Madam Chair, I move that the following named individuals be appointed as chair to the following listed committees for the fiscal year 2021-2022. The named individuals and their committees are as follows. Standing committees, Dining Services Chair, Wayne Sims. Health Services, Wayne Letizia. Maintenance Housekeeping Security, Dave Dingfield. Resident Services, Bill Talley. Environmental Services is shared between Mike Williams and Susan Letizia. Special Committees, Election is to be determined. The Employee Christmas Fund, Bill Talley. The Employee Scholarship Fund, Elaine Gillespie. Financial Report, Ramsey Gayer. Redevelopment, Betty Francis. And for recreational and educational committees, the Boutique, Pam Thomas. CINC, or CINC, Dwight Bailey. The Country Store, Taylor Hanley. The Library, Betty Francis. Museum and Arts, Sharon Williams. And finally, the Welcoming Committee is shared by Sarah Bailey. Madam Chair, that concludes the report.
Do we have a motion to approve all these chairs? Ray, are you making that motion that these chairs be approved?
Madam Chair, I am making that motion.
There is a motion on the floor to approve all the committee chairs, and you are going to save me from having to say all those names one more time. Is there a second for this motion? Elizabeth is seconding. Is there any discussion? We are so happy when we have people doing all these jobs. Since there's no discussion, let us vote. Is there all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Since there's no opposed, the motion passes, and congratulations to all the chairs for assuming the responsibility of leadership for our community. The next item on the agenda is the fiscal year capital improvements request for fiscal years 22 and 23. This is required by our bylaws that the committees and residents submit their capital improvements request to the council. The council then triages these requests, and we are required to provide the request to management sometime during the month of June. The requests have been sent to Brian via a letter and an attachment. And at this point, we have to have a motion that legally lets us go ahead and do that. So I'm going to turn to Dave as the Vice Chair of Operations to take care of this.
Yes, pursuant to the standing rules for the Residence Council, and for those of you that are interested, it's Article 2, Section 6B. The Resident Council has prepared the capital improvement request list for fiscal year 2022 and 2023 and presented it to management. Therefore, I move that the fiscal year 2022 and 2023 capital improvement request documents become a part of our permanent records.
Is there a second? Danny, thank you for seconding that. We have a motion and we have a second to have our capital improvements request passed on to management. Is there any discussion from the council? Such a nice, quiet group. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. The motion passes. For informational purposes, during our planning meeting, the council has spent probably 8 to 10 hours reviewing the documents from everyone who has submitted capital requests. The documents were reviewed with Rod Jordan, the maintenance director, who ends up being the person trying to make all these things work. They were then sent, and we also reviewed with Brian, who has the checkbook that makes some of these requests occur. So from this point, I hope the residents feel comfortable that all of the things that you have sent in have been considered. Some of the items are things that can be done within the 22-23 fiscal year. Other items are items that will come on with redevelopment, but we've encouraged our management to think about these items as they're planning for redevelopment in the future. So that's kind of where we are on capital projects. And now we just wait to see what happens next, and we won't know that until probably the end of the summer. Brian, you're it.
Thank you, Madam President, council members, and congratulations, Betsy. Welcome to all the residents that are here as well. Who turned this off? All right. So a couple of months ago, I had shared with you that there was a photography club that wanted to take some pictures of the State Road 13 bridge. And this is one of the pictures that they provided, and I thought I would share that with you today. I was going to put another one on as well, but the file ended up becoming too big. But it doesn't translate quite as well with our current AV equipment, but rest assured, one of the projects that the council is recommending is new AV equipment for our auditorium. So I do have each of the requests from the council that were submitted to me for the capital budget planning for 2021 and 2022, or 2022 and 2023. And all of those requests will be considered in next year's capital budget and, or as Joan had indicated, in future redevelopment plans. As we're talking about capital projects, I wanted to give you an update. I think that at the last town hall meeting, we had shared with you the projects that were in progress, as well as the projects that were projected. And I wanted to share with you a lot of progress that was made in the month of May. The exterior walkways for North Point and Magnolia have both been completed. Did that turn out nicely for those that live in Magnolia and North Point? Good. We also provided a tankless water heater for Magnolia. We received our 8-passenger tram, which many of you have probably already taken advantage of. Eastwood got a new pool heater. There's new kitchen swinging doors in the dining room. The elevator door opener for the health center was replaced, and the elevator HVAC in Magnolia was replaced, and we are always doing independent living renovation turns. Things that are projected for the first quarter, some of them have been started, and you will see pictures of the groundbreaking for the memory care assisted living in just a few moments. But the striping of the parking lot was completed in May. We've submitted some PRs, and then other projects are still in the process of getting started. From an employment standpoint, I've been sharing with you our progress here. And for the month of May, and we go ahead up to the current date, we've had 19 hires. And you can see the breakdown from different departments. And I have invited Elizabeth to come to the microphone and to introduce to you our new Director of Nursing, Crystal Lockwood.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Wonderful. It is my pleasure to introduce Crystal Lockwood. She is our new Director of Nursing. Good morning. Yesterday was her very first day, and so we are, so nothing like meeting all the residents, but we are extremely happy to have her here. She has been a nurse for the last 10 years and has functioned in the director of nursing role in other communities. We are actually one of the smaller communities, which is ideal because she brings a lot of experience, some new ideas, which we are very eager to implement in our own community. She has 2 children, 12 and 16, so she's almost there. She and her husband live in Clay County. They're originally from Maryland. He's a retired police officer, and we are just so happy to have her here to lead our nurse leadership team as we begin to rebuild that group of individuals to support our residents in healthcare. So please welcome Crystal. We're glad to have her, and thank you. Thank you for a few moments of your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and welcome, Crystal. Looking forward to working with you. Also in here, you see that we had a number of resident service hires, and I wanted to point out that we have 2 new activity assistants in assisted living. One in the memory care, her name is Michelle, and another in assisted living, his name is Nate. And one interesting thing about Nate is that he was a volunteer with us back when he was in high school for 4 years. And he went on to a teaching career and wanted to come back and be a part of Westminster Woods on Julington Creek. So we're happy to have him back, and was able to officially meet him yesterday. So a lot of good people that have been hired, a lot of progress that's going on here. We do not have quite the struggles that we were having earlier in the year with recruiting. There's a number of people that have applied for jobs. I actually have 74 applicants for the director of HR position. So this past weekend, I finally got through all of them. And as I was telling Mary Klein, the VP of HR, if there was a cover letter in there, I read it, because so many people don't include cover letters anymore. So anyways, very happy for the team on how we're making progress with our hires. In the past couple months, there's also been a lot of talk about wages. And at the last chat, there was further communication about that and how competitive we are with the surrounding market. And I was at the management team meeting last week, and I'm happy to announce to you that our company has made a significant commitment to our team members to be increasing the wages of those less skilled positions, as well as some positions that are more skilled that are also very competitive in this market. So we're already taking a step to increasing our minimum wage to meet the $15 minimum expectation in a couple of years. And this wage increase will be taking place in this month, June 25th. So earlier this year, we did the nurses. I actually forgot to update this slide. We did the nurses, and with this one, we're doing assisted living, all CNAs, dining services, housekeepers, and also drivers are included in this increase. So real happy about this. This is across all communities of Westminster Communities of Florida, and is a big financial commitment and shows the commitment that we have to our team members. So there were some questions about the quality of life survey, and I wanted to just review with you a little bit what we had reviewed in the past. Last September, we did the Quality of Life Survey 2, and as I had, that was for independent living and assisted living, and we did well. We kind of expected our scores to go down during the pandemic, and for independent living, we had a score of 3.46, where previously we were a 3.58. Overall, within all the Westminster communities, we were ranked 3rd in independent living, but in assisted living, we were ranked 8th. Both of those rankings were consistent with how we had done in previous surveys. So not a lot changed within the rankings of the company. The departments that had the highest score of all of the communities was housekeeping, dining, and wellness. So our housekeeping, wellness, and dining departments had the highest scores of any of the other Westminster communities. You see that transportation had a 3.75, which was even higher than the ones that were scored the highest, but obviously somebody else had a higher score in transportation than 3.75. But it goes to reflect the benefit and how well that service is received, not only by our team members, but also by our many TRAM volunteers that help us in providing that service to our residents. Pharmacy was our lowest score, and this past Health Services Committee, we had a presentation by our pharmacy, and they have a new means of delivering medications, and we're already using it in our health center. We're going to be adopting it in the assisted living, so that when somebody in the assisted living transfers over to the health center, they'll just be able to take their medications with them. They won't have to reorder, nothing will have to be destroyed, none of that stuff. But this system is also a system that allows independent living residents to be able to order medications as well. So what I asked the pharmacy to do, and the Health Services Committee were receptive to, was having the pharmacy come up and give a presentation to them first. And then in the near future, there'll probably be a letter that will be coming to all the residents of our community, letting you know of this opportunity coming forward. As it is right now, pharmacy doesn't have much penetration on our campus in independent living or assisted living. So their greatest opportunity to improve their presence on our communities is through this new medication system. I think the computer stopped for a second. In assisted living, we also had the quality of life survey that took place last year. And here, I felt that it was most relevant to share with you the departments within our community that had the lowest scores. We are definitely working on this, and those reports are in the library for your review if you want to get more detail. Just last month, we had a quality of life survey in assisted living for the Quality of Life Survey 1. And what happens with these surveys, in case you're not aware, is that every other year we alternate surveys. So, and the different surveys look at different departments. So for the Quality of Life Survey 1, nursing activities, assisted living staff, personal care, home care services, therapy services, privacy, administration, community, and overall active living community were the topics that were surveyed. For assisted living, the scores were generally lower than 2019, but in all cases but one had not fallen lower than 2017. And that department that had fallen lower than 2017 was the activities department. So we're really excited about the new people that we have hired, and the re-engagement of activities following this pandemic. I did review these results with the assisted living residents yesterday. I've started meeting with them on a monthly basis, and that's being received well. And had a real nice conversation with them and making sure that we're aware of what's important to them. Some people had expressed concern that we had not done a whole lot to recognize the years of service for our team members last year due to the pandemic. And it is not to say that we do not appreciate their years of service. It was just during a very difficult time. So we have scheduled their milestone luncheon that will be taking place on Friday over at the Blackstone Grill. So the department leaders of those people that are being recognized and myself, as well as those that are being recognized, will all go over to lunch at Blackstone Grill, and that's a way that we recognize them during at the 5, 10, 15, 20 year marks. And then the 2021 milestone will take place when it normally takes place, which is in October of this year. It is that time of the year where Florida is more susceptible to hurricanes, and that season started on June the 1st. We will be holding a meeting with an information meeting with the St. Johns County Emergency Management on June the 15th here in this auditorium at 10 o'clock in the morning. So this will be a great place to get familiar with our community's practices as well as the guidance that St. Johns County provides. This year we do have a new emergency management director at St. Johns County. His name is Gavin. Tim had retired, whatever it was, last year after the hurricane season. So he went out on top with no hurricanes last year. So that was great. And Kelly Wilson will be here. She's the one that regularly presents this information, and we will partner with her in the presentation on next Tuesday. And we will also provide you with the information that we distribute from our community, making it clear as to what you should expect in the event that a hurricane threatens Northeast Florida. With our COVID vaccines, I had corrected myself at the last chat. I think the last letter that I had put out, I said that June 1st was going to be the last time that we were offering the COVID vaccine. But we are going to continue to do that as long as there is demand. So every Tuesday we are continuing to provide the Moderna vaccine. You can reach out to the health resource nurse, Cynthia Renchi, and let her know that you want to receive the vaccine, and she'll get you slated to receive that the following Tuesday. Our health center team members are up to 83%. And all of our team members are up to 75%. We are the second highest in the company, highest being 77. But the average for both all team members and just the health center team members across the company is only 62%. So we are doing very well. And I would have to say that our community is larger than the other community that is at 77%. So hats off to our team members. Our residents for the whole community is 97%, and that remains pretty consistent. So thank you all. At the end of last month, we had our groundbreaking for our memory care. Here's a couple of pictures. The one on the left is Terry Rogers, our CEO. He came up for the event. I think it's his first groundbreaking since he took the position last April. Other projects continued during the pandemic, but this is the first one to start. And then Congresswoman Cindy Stevenson was also here. She's always been a close friend. She lives right here in our area. She's been to the North Point groundbreaking. She approved the property that the memory care is going on. So she's still very connected to what's happening here at Westminster Woods on Julington Creek, and very proud to be partnering with her. And that is my presentation. So any questions that anybody has?
I have one, Brian. When you mentioned, and I think it was the staffing positions that we had filled, you mentioned you had 47 applications or something for the HR. people here have said I'm in the dark, but I really don't know. What you mean for Katie Dively's position or what?
Yes. So at the last chat, I think I announced for the first time formally that Katie Dively has decided to retire. And the word has kind of gotten around, and I apologize for assuming that everybody in here was aware of that. But Katie has decided to retire, and her husband are looking forward to doing some traveling. And she attributed some to the loss of both her mother and her father that she's experienced in the past less than a year. Yeah. So. Okay.
Any more questions for Brian? Are there any comments from the floor? Here comes Wayne. This is Wayne Letizia, who's the Chair of Health Services Committee.
And as Chair of Health Services Committee, I would like to welcome Crystal as our Director of Nursing. I'm glad that has been accomplished. We've been looking for a Director of Nursing for several months now, and we've had an interim Director of Nursing here from another community, and it really will help our staff to have someone who is here permanently. And the other comment that I have, Carol, when you mentioned the minutes, you said that the minutes of April meeting had been posted. Did you mean the minutes of the May meeting had been posted? Okay, thank you.
Yes, excuse me. It would be the May meeting minutes are approved as published.
Thank you.
Here comes Susan.
Good morning. I just want to make a reminder announcement of the Shred It trailer that will be here on Thursday morning from 10 to noon, and they will be picking up anybody's shred. If you have stuff you've already shed and you want it recycled, this is a good time. Or if you have stuff that needs to be shredded, not your run-of-the-mill recycle, but anything that actually has to be shredded, this is a good time to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. This was a very big event we had every year, and it's out in the back at the loading dock. So all those important documents that we don't want pirated away or used for identity theft, this is the time to do it. And you just bring your box back, and they toss it in the shredder, and they're gone, and they carry them off for you, which is really quite nice. Any other comments or questions? This is really an easy audience. We must be getting better at this, you know that. If there is nothing else, then we are adjourned, and we'll see everybody next month. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.